Hi day everyone, I hope you're okay. Thank you for all your work you've been sending in. You've been great this week. I can't believe we've already got 1 week left of school. I know this afternoon are your class parties. I can't wait to see some of you. I might be dropping in. I can't promise. I might be dropping in on Churchill's one. I don't promise, just in case the internet breaks or something happens. But yeah, hopefully, Churchillians, I will see you later on today. Yeah. I hope you have a lovely weekend and send me some work. Let's carry on with some English. Let's bubble fry myself. And it's Myths and Legends, lesson 19, and it's Friday, the 10th of July. I can't believe it's Friday. 1 more week left of school. That's amazing. Let's get on with today's lesson. You know what you need. Don't need to tell what I do. I'm going to read it because it's there. Pencil or pen, paper, and lesson 19 from the website. You should have everything. If you haven't, where have you been the last 4 weeks? So today you're going to know about the link between Polyphemous and Odysseus. And you're going to understand who Odysseus was, and you're going to understand who Polyphemus was. And you're going to be able to consider the importance of all the different characters that link throughout these myths. Pause the video while you write the date and the LI down on your paper. So, for each of these characters below, write down 2 examples of their cunning. Remember to include the title of the myth. So you've got Zeus, Perseus, and Hercules. Okay, those are your 3. Blue zone especially, you should be doing the extension, which is which of the characters above do you think is the most cunning? And explain your opinion in 3 sentences using the word myth, cunning, and for example. Okay, I really want to see your learning about this. Write it down, send it to me, and I'll reply with some great feedback for you. Okay, guys, pause the video while you're doing that. Okay, so today's quite a lot of writing to start off with, and I won't be telling you the answers until you email me. Okay, so I do want to see your writing. So there's going to be a few different slides, I think. So I want you to summarise the following labours in exactly 4 sentences. Remember to start each sentence with a capital letter and end it with a full stop. What is this? Miss Hewer has been working far too late. Full stop. You know what a full stop is, not full stop. So Hercules and Medusa. Write down 4 sentences. Is that even love? You know that's 4, right? About that labour. What happens? Capital letters, full stops, guys. Okay, you know it. Pause the video while you write it. And then you've got Hercules and the Hydra, Hercules in the stables. Pause the video. Don't think I'm rushing you. Okay, so that's it. So once you've done those 3, perfect. So vocabulary recap. Feign, foiled, high spirits, and strategist. What do they mean? Feign. Pretend to be affected by a feeling, state, or injury, and that's verb. Foiled, prevent something from succeeding, again that's a verb. High spirits, lively and cheerful behaviour or mood, and that's a noun. And strategist is a person skilled in planning action or policy, especially in war or politics, which is a noun. How did you do? Did you do well? I hope you did quite well. Yeah, I hope you got all of them right. They were only from yesterday. So, new vocabulary, quite a lot today. Let me try and move my bubble a little bit. I'll pop myself up here. So, we've got voyage. And that's a long journey involving travel by sea or space. And it is a noun, but it can also be a verb. So, you can go on a voyage. Slaughter. That's to kill animals for food. Again, it's a verb, but it can also be a noun. Accursed. To be under a curse, and that's an adjective. Seized. Take hold of something suddenly and forcibly. So I've seized all of your pencil cases because you've all been playing with them. That's a verb. Devoured. To eat food hungrily or quickly, and that's a verb. Staff. Now staff can obviously mean staff that work somewhere, so like staff at school. But the way we are going to be looking at it is staff, as in a rod or a scepter, held as a sign of office or authority, something you hold to show you are important. And that's a noun, it's a name of something. scheming, given to or involved in making secret and underhand plans. That's an adjective, but can also be a noun. Agony, extreme physical or mental suffering, and that's a noun. Peril, serious and immediate danger. It's a noun, but can also be a verb. And dissuade, it's persuading someone not to take a particular course of action. So you might dissuade me from thinking I can finish school today. No, it's next Friday. And that's a verb. There's loads of new words today, so do write them down in your glossary. It will help you in the future, and it will help you on Monday as well. Okay, so we're not going to look at today's tasks. I need to come back here for the answers. Let's bubblify myself. Oh no, I'm already a bubble. Let's minimise that, and we're going to go for the 10th. Look, I'm getting a nice little list of things that I've downloaded, aren't I? Okay. So, I'm going to put myself up there. So, here we go. Are you ready? Oh, that's a bit big. I am Odysseus, king of the Greek island of Ithaca. Let me tell you of my disastrous voyage on our way back from Troy. After 10 long years, the Trojans had fallen into my trap and dragged the wooden horse into the city. And I brought doom and slaughter to the city. Our ships full of Trojan gold and wine, we set sail. A terrible storm started. Cloud-covered land and sea, darkness swept down on us from the sky. For 9 days we were chased by those accursed winds across the seas. With the fear of death in us, we rowed the ships to land with all of our might. And so we came to the land of the Cyclops, fierce giants who live in hollow caves in the mountain heights. It took us very little time to reach a cave, but we did not find its owner at home. We lit a fire and helped ourselves to some food, and at last the owner of the cave came up with his sheep. He picked up a huge stone of monstrous size. It was huge, and closed the entrance. Then he spied on us. "Strangers," he bellowed, "and who are you? Where do you come from over the watery ways? Are you roving pirates who would risk their lives to ruin other people's?" Our hearts sank. The booming voice and the very sight of the one-eyed monster filled us with panic. "We are Greeks," I said, "on our way back from Troy, destroying the great city and its armies driven across the sea. Remember your duty to the gods. Zeus is a champion of guests. Guests are sacred to him, and he goes alongside them." And this is what he said: "Stranger, you must be a fool to order me to fear the gods. We Cyclops care nothing for Zeus, nor for the rest of the gods, since we are much stronger than they are. I would never spare you the fear of Zeus." He seized a couple of men, bashed their heads on the floor, and their brains ran out on the ground and soaked the earth. Limb by limb he tore them to pieces to make a meal, which he devoured like a mountain lion, leaving nothing, neither flesh nor bones. While we were completely helpless, when the cyclist had filled his great belly up with this meal of human flesh, he stretched himself out for some sleep among his flocks inside the cave. My first thought, though, was to draw my sharp sword and stab him in the heart. But on second thought, I realised we would seal our own fate as well as his, because we would have found it impossible to push aside the huge rock with which he had closed the great mouth of the cave. So, with sighs and groans, we waited for the light of day. Okay, I want you to fill in this activity, so it's true or false for these 4 lines, and I'm going to go back to my PowerPoint to mark it at the end of the lesson. So, true or false, the Cyclops is a one-eyed man-eater monster. The Cyclops fear the god. True or false? Again, I am so sorry. It's spelling autocorrect. Odysseus decides to attach the Cyclops straight away. The Cyclops eats some of Odysseus's men. True or false for all of those, we'll mark them at the end. When dawn approached, Polyphemous, the Cyclops, once more snatched up 2 of the men and prepared his terrible meal of human flesh. When he had eaten, he turned his sheep out of the cave, then replaced the great doorstone without effort. I was left with murder in my heart, scheming to find the best plan I could think of. Lying in the cave, the Cyclops had a huge staff. Remember, that's a long rod. Show importance. Though to us it looked more like the mast of some great ship, I sharpened it to a point, then I hardened it in the fire, and finally I carefully hid it under the sheep dung. I then told my men to cast lots for the dangerous task of helping me lift the pole and twist it in the Cyclops' eye when he was sound asleep. Evening came, and with it Polyphemus the Cyclops, once more snatching two of us and preparing a supper. Then, with a wood bowl of my dark wine in my hands, I went up to him and said, "Here, Cyclops, have some wine to wash down your meal of human flesh." The Cyclops took the wine and drank it up, and he called for another bowlful. "Give me more, and tell me your name, for this wine is a drop of the nectar, ambrosia, the god's drink." So it was really nice wine. I handed him another bowlful. 3 times I filled it for him, and 3 times the fool drained the bowl. At last, when the wine had confused his brain, I addressed him. "Cyclops, you asked me my name. I tell it to you. My name is Nobody. That is what my mother and father, and what I am called by my mother and my father, and by all of my friends." The Cyclops answered me from his cruel heart, "Of all his company I will eat nobody last, and the rest before him." He toppled over and fell face upwards on the floor. His great neck twisted over on one side, and sleep overpowered him. In his drunken state he vomited, and a stream of wine mixed with the morsels of men's flesh poured from his throat. I went at once and thrust our pole deep under the ashes of the fire to make it hot, and meanwhile gave a word of encouragement to all my men to make sure none would hold back through fear. Seizing the pole, we twisted it in his eye till the blood boiled up round the burning wood. The scorching heat burned his eyelids. Echoing round the cave, pulled the stake from his eye, streaming with blood, and raised a great shout to the other Cyclops who lived in the other caves. Hearing his screams, they shouted, "What on earth is wrong with you, Polyphemus? Why must you disturb our night and spoil our sleep? Is someone trying by treachery or violence to kill you?" Out of the cave came the reply of the mighty Polyphemus. "It is nobody's treachery and violence that is doing me to death." "Well then," came the reply from the other Cyclops, "if nobody is assaulting you, you cannot be helped. All you can do is pray to your father, the god Poseidon." And off they went, while I laughed at my cunning trick, because it wasn't nobody, was it, that was actually attacking him, but that's the name he gave. The Cyclops, still groaning in agony, groped about with his hands and pushed the rock away from the mouth of the cave, in the doorway, stretching out both arms in the hope of catching us escaping. What a fool he must have thought of me. Meanwhile, I was racking my brains, trying to hit on some way to save myself and my men. We were in mortal peril. We were danger. This was the plan that seemed best to me. I tied the sheep together 3 by 3, attached my men to their bellies upside down. Tortured and in terrible agony, Polyphemus blindly groped for his animals, and as they left the caves for the field, but never noticed that my men were underneath them. As soon as we were out, we hurried to our ship, but before we were out of earshot, I shouted taunts at Polyphemus. "Cyclops, your crimes were bound to catch up with you, you brute, you who devoured your guests. Now, Zeus and all the other gods have paid you back." My words so enraged the Cyclops that he tore a great rock and hurled it at us. The rock fell just short of our ship. Seizing a long pole, I pushed our ship off, commanding my crew to use their oars and save us from disaster. When, at a distance, I was about to shout something else to the Cyclops, but my men called out, trying to calm me. "Why do you want to provoke this savage? We're still within his range." But my temper was up. Their roads did not dissuade me Words did not dissuade me, and in my rage I shouted back at him once more, Cyclops, if anyone asks you how you are blind, tell him your eye was put out by Odysseus, king of Ithaca. The Cyclops prayed to Poseidon. Hear me, Poseidon the Earthshaker, I am the sun. May Odysseus, sacker of the cities, never reach his home in Ithaca, or let him come late in wretched plight, having lost all his comrades, that's the people who sailed with his friends, and let him find trouble in his home. So he prayed for revenge, and the sea god Poseidon heard his prayer. Once again the Cyclops picked up a boulder, bigger by far this time, and hurled it with such tremendous force that it only just missed our ship. The water heaved up, and at it plunged into the sea. And as it plunged it plunged into the sea. But the wave that it raised carried us on. So we left the islands of the Cyclops and sailed on with heavy hearts, grieving for our friends, but glad at our own escape from the Cyclops. So activity B, I need to have a look at these adjectives, and you're going to underline the best three that describe Odysseus. And then you're going to use those adjectives to help you summarise how Odysseus and his men escaped from Polyphemus. I want you to use patience, cunning and stuff. And you've got one last activity. So activity D, look at the list of Odysseus's possible flaws. So that means things that are bad with him or wrong. He's like minus points. Underline the one that you think could get him into the most trouble and explain your choice. So is it hot-headedness, impatience, ruthlessness, arrogance, stubbornness, cruelty or disrespect? Explain your choice. So we're going to go back and we're going to mark A. So let me just move my bubble. I can say, I don't need to save that. So the Cyclops is a one-eyed man-eater monster. That's true. The Cyclops fears the gods. That was false. Odysseus, I'm sorry guys, Odysseus decides to attack the Cyclops straight away. That's false, isn't it? It doesn't, not straight away. And the Cyclops eats some of Odysseus's men, and that was true. Don't forget to send me your work, yr5@grange.harrow.sch.uk. Have a lovely weekend, and I'll see you next week for the last week of school. Bye!